What if I told you that the borders of one of history's biggest powers could be used to make a new one? Think about a world where the huge Mongol Empire connects many different modern countries, cultures, and economies into a beautiful fabric. Today we will talk about what the Mongol Empire would be like if it were still around today, looking at how its history could affect modern politics and cultural interactions. Are you ready to start this interesting trip through history and your own imagination? The 13th and 14th centuries were the golden age of the Mongol Empire. It was the world's biggest and most connected land empire. At its peak, it covered huge areas of Asia and Europe and brought together people from different countries and backgrounds under one rule. Genghis Khan started the kingdom, which changed the way politics worked at the time and made it possible for people from all over the world to trade and share their cultures along the Silk Road. The Mongol Empire did, however, finally break up, making way for modern nation-states with clear borders. This video imagines what the Mongol Empire would be like if it were to come back to life today, with modern political borders and geopolitical facts. How big the Mongol Empire was. The Mongol Empire was very big and included parts of 30 countries today. These included Mongolia, China, Russia, Iran, Iraq, and a lot of Central Asia. The kingdom had a lot of different cultures, languages, and religions living in its vast steppes, deserts, and mountains. In the parts that follow, we'll look at how modern borders meet with the historical lands of the Mongol Empire. This will help us figure out what the empire might look like today. Mongolia was the center of the empire. Mongolia, where Genghis Khan was born and which was the center of the Mongol Empire, is still a big part of this made-up modern version. Mongolia is now a separate country, surrounded by Russia to the north and China to the south. In the Mongol Empire, Mongolia would have been the main landmass and would have kept its own history and culture. Mongolia today, with its huge grasslands and nomadic way of life, would probably be the empire's administrative center. Ulaanbaatar, the city, could become a center for trade and government, just like it was in the past when different cultures met. Mongolia's position in the middle of the empire made it easy for people from all over the different parts to talk to each other. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan are in Central Asia. This area was very important to the Mongol Empire in history. Parts of the Silk Road and other trade paths that linked the East and West used this land a lot. Kazakhstan, which is the biggest country in Central Asia, would be a very important place for trade and farming. Almaty and Nur Sultan, formerly Astana, two towns in Kazakhstan, could become important economic hubs that make it easier for people to do business and share their culture. Kazakhs have a long history that goes back to nomadic times. This history would help Mongolian beliefs and customs stay alive. Kyrgyzstan is known for its hilly landscape. The country would likely be able to keep its cultural identity while also being an important place for trade and herding. Trade and tourism would pick up again on the old Silk Road routes that went through the Tian Shan Mountains, linking current markets to those in the past. With its historical towns like Samarkand and Bukhara, Uzbekistan could be a center for culture and ideas, drawing on its long history as a place where different cultures and ideas come together. Bringing these historical places back to life could bring in a lot of scholars, merchants, and travelers, just like there were a lot of them in the past. Russia and the territories in Siberia. The Mongol Empire covered a lot of what is now Russia, especially Siberia and the western parts of the country. A lot of the land that used to be part of the empire would be in modern Russia, but the way it is governed and its cultural identity would be very different. In this new version of the Mongol Empire, places like Siberia would have some freedom, which would let their own cultures grow while still being a part of the larger political and economic system. Siberia has a lot of resources, like minerals and wood, that could help the empire's income and lay the groundwork for modern infrastructure growth. Cities like Kazan and Moscow in western Russia would be important urban centers that would connect the empire to Europe. Mongols and Russians interacted with each other in the past during the Golden Horde time. These interactions would affect how they interact now, resulting in a unique mix of cultures. The Middle East, Iraq, Iran, and other places. The Mongol Empire made a lot of progress in the Middle East, mostly in Persia, now Iran, and some parts of Iraq. The area's rich cultural history would be a big part of the empire's character and have an impact on art, science, and philosophy. With towns like Tehran and Isfahan that are full of history, modern Iran is likely to become a center for culture and ideas. The Persians had a big impact on building, poetry, and philosophy, which made the empire's culture richer. Iran's location would also make trade easier between the East and the West, which would strengthen economic ties within the kingdom. Iraq is historically important because it was home to old civilizations like Babylon and Mesopotamia, using its rich history to inspire a new intellectual rebirth in the empire. Modern Baghdad could become a center for education and culture. The Indian subcontinent is made up of Pakistan and northern India. The Mongol Empire grew and spread to parts of the Indian subcontinent, mostly what is now Pakistan and northern India. The empire would have more layers of identity because of the area's wide range of cultures. With its historic towns like Lahore and Karachi, Pakistan would be an important trade route between Central Asia and the Indian subcontinent. The empire's economy would benefit from the region's rich farming, and the area's lively arts and culture would add to the cultural exchange. Cities in northern India, like Delhi and Agra, would still be important as cultural and political hubs. Mongol and Indian customs coming together could lead to a unique mix of building styles, food influences, and artistic expressions. What it means for China and Southeast Asia. The Mongol Empire also tried to grow into China and Southeast Asia. Even though these areas are separated by current political borders, the Mongols' influence would still be clear. China became part of the state under Kublai Khan. There would be a lot of interaction between Mongol and Han Chinese cultures. Cities like Beijing and Shanghai would be important economic hubs in the modern world, with a focus on trade and new technologies. The old Silk Road lines would be brought back to life, making it easier for people from the empire and around the world to trade with each other. Southeast Asia was not as closely ruled by the Mongols, but trade and cultural exchange showed that the empire had an impact on the area. Vietnam, Thailand, and Myanmar could become important trade partners for the kingdom, which would benefit its economy and cultural diversity. Government and shared culture. In a modern version of the Mongol Empire, the different cultures and identities of its regions would likely be taken into account through a less centralized form of government. The empire could switch to a federal setup, which would let different areas keep some independence while still working together under one leader. Cultural exchange would be a big part of this new kingdom. The Mongols' role in making trade and communication easier along the Silk Road would have an impact on modern policies that try to get people from different countries to work together. Festivals that honor the rich history of each area could help people feel like they belong to the same group. Getting educated would be very important for the empire's growth. There would be institutions set up to protect and promote the arts, sciences, and languages of the different cultures that lived in the kingdom. Putting more emphasis on schooling would help bring people from different groups together, building respect and understanding. Effects on the economy. A strong economy based on trade and resource management would be good for the made-up modern Mongol Empire. Bringing together different areas would make it easier for people to trade goods, services, and ideas, which would make the economy more dynamic. Because the kingdom covered so much land, it could get to many types of natural resources, from the minerals in Siberia to the crops in Central Asia. This variety of resources would make the economy more stable and help it grow, which would let people spend in things like technology and infrastructure. Trade routes like the Silk Road would become popular again, linking the kingdom to markets around the world. Signing trade agreements with countries that are close by would improve economic ties and promote growth. Problems and difficulties. The imagined Mongol Empire is a picture of unity and cooperation, but it would also have problems and fights because of old grudges and culture differences. To get through these complicated situations, you would need to be polite and committed to including everyone. If different parts of the empire had different amounts of wealth and resources, it could cause problems between those parts. In order to fix these problems, policies must be put in place that encourage fair resource distribution and growth. It might also be hard to build a strong personality because of the effects of past wars and victories. To build a peaceful and united kingdom, it would be important to recognize past wrongs and work towards peace. We can learn more about the complex links between history, society, and geography by picturing the Mongol Empire with modern borders. The empire's size and variety would make things difficult, but they could also be used to work together and share their cultures. In this new view, the Mongol Empire could be a sign of unity among different groups of people, honoring their shared history while also recognizing their individual identities. When we think about how important the Mongol Empire was in history, we can see how complicated politics, society, and the economy are in a modern world that is still trying to figure out who it is and how to live together. In the end, the idea of modern Mongol Empire makes us think about the strength of unity in the face of variety. This helps us understand the complex web of human connections that make up our world. In order to get through the problems we face now, the lessons we learned in the past can help us build a better future that respects our shared humanity. If you enjoyed this exploration of the Mongol Empire reimagined with modern borders, be sure to subscribe for more intriguing insights into history and culture. Join our community and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update on the stories that shaped our world. Your adventure into the past starts here.